Hello guys and welcome back. Today's kit is the Marder II from Tamiya in 1:35 scale. A small tank destroyer that should be a quick and easy build to complete. We begin with the main gun, a 7.5 cm Pak 40. The barrel is made from two halves, but considering the age of this tool, this has to be expected. That just means that I have to make sure to sand the barrel later to remove any inconsistencies. These are the same parts that you can find in the standalone kit for said anti-tank gun from 1975. The Pak 40 was one of the most widely used anti-tank guns by the Wehrmacht during the Second World War. It was used both in its towed version as a stationary defense weapon, as well as mounted on a variety of chassis as a mobile tank destroyer. These included French Lorraine chassis, Panzer II ones like this one here, and later versions used the Panzerkampfwagen 38T as their base, to name just some examples. The gun breech is surprisingly well detailed for being an almost 50-year-old kit. The breech block can be shown both closed and open, depending on whether you want to show the gun during firing or loading. I will keep mine open, ready for loading. This is the recoil mechanism, where the gun can move forward and backwards during firing. The gunner has his place on the left side of the gun. With two hand wheels, he can change the elevation as well as make some small horizontal rotational movements to aim at his target. For any wider horizontal movement, the whole tank had to be moved. This small plate on the gun shield has to stay movable. It closes the gap in the shield when the gun moves up and down. So be precise when applying the glue to not accidentally glue it in place. We will stick with the moving parts for now. The recoil mechanism is connected to the two saddles on the right and left side. Now I have to fit the gun barrel onto the recoil mechanism. After some pushing, I slide the barrel completely forward, as this was the normal position for the barrel when not fired. When attaching the gun shield, these small holes should connect with the left and right saddles, but it is kind of hard to show it on camera, so just trust me that I did it correct. When the Pak 40 was used in tank destroyers, the gun shield had to be extended to provide enough cover when the gun moved to either the left or the right side. And with that, we have already finished the gun, and can now move on to the interior. Because this is an open-top vehicle, some of the interior will be visible. You get half an engine block and the driver's seat. While it is not that much, it is all that would be visible later anyway. The lower hull is almost finished right out of the box. All axles and the suspensions are already molded right onto it. While this saves you some time, you sacrifice a lot of detail that way. But you can always cover it up later with mud regardless. The floor plate is attached to the lower hull with these studs that fit over these raised parts here. A big advantage of this kit are the polycaps that are included for all wheels. You just put the polycap into the wheel and then close it with the hubcap. That way you can stick the wheel onto the axle without the need of any glue, and you can remove it later easily if you need so. The same goes for the road wheels, but all of them have a small seam line that you should sand down first. The return rollers are just fitted and glued right onto the running gear. No need for them to stay movable. The protection plates for each side have some small details like boxes and tools that you need to add. While I tried to ignore the ejector pin marks on the right side, it was impossible to do the same on the left. I tried my best to fill them with putty and sand them flush to make them less noticeable. The commander also gets a single small periscope to look over the side without exposing his head. For better protection, the frontal armor is reinforced with an additional thicker armor plate, even though for a tank destroyer like this it probably didn't have that much. Here we have a small submachine gun for the crew for self-defense. And for some reason this thing really had no interest in staying in place and always fell down. Now I can attach the side panel to the upper hull. This recess must be flush on all sides. Then the panel is in the correct position and can be glued in place. For the shell storage box, you again have the option to keep it open or closed. I will keep it open because it looks more detailed. I recommend attaching the box to the hull while the lid is not fixed to get the right angle and not leave it awkwardly floating. From some reference images, I saw that this hatch over the back is optional and you don't have to attach it. But as you will see later, I need this space in the back here, so I will attach it now. Here at the front, you can choose between adding a towing cable or a spare wheel. I went for the spare wheel, as I already want to add a separate towing cable to the back later. And with that, the actual model as it is in the box is already finished. Didn't take that long. But I would like to add a few more modifications of my own to hopefully improve the whole thing a bit. My first improvement is some additional handles for the sides, made from metal wire. These are not exactly to scale and would have to be a little thinner, but that shouldn't be noticeable later, and the better stability is more important to me. I attached these with super glue. Next, I would like to improve the storage space in the back. To do this, I cut a thin plastic card into small strips. I then glue the strips onto the back with plastic cement. Since all of these are field modifications, it doesn't matter if the stripes all look a bit different, and even makes it more authentic. Next, I cut some coffee stirrers into small boards and attached them horizontally to the plastic strips to build a kind of makeshift fence. I need super glue again to glue it here. Now I have created a better storage space for various equipment and boxes. Next, it's time for the armor texture. For this, I again used the water-soluble putty from AK Interactive. I stippled the putty over the desired armor plates with an old bristle brush. After I let it dry, it looked way too rough. But that's not a problem, because I just take some sandpaper and smooth it out a bit to make the texture more subtle. To show some damage to the mudguards, I carefully bent them with my pliers. I wrapped them in masking tape to reduce the risk of completely destroying them. And last but not least, I would like to damage the soft rubber border of the wheels a little. This would happen automatically in any vehicle that travels a lot off-road and is a nice and simple detail. Now I can load the vehicle with its equipment and the 2 included figures, and we can see how far we have come this episode. I'm a big fan of these German tank destroyers. And even with such a simple and old kit, you can get quite a nice model out of it without too much effort. I can't wait to see it painted and weathered. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe to not miss the next part. Any feedback or suggestions, let me know in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and see you next time.